The dragon throne had not functioned in 3,000 cycles. It sat in the heart of the celestial palace, a monument to a bygone era when the Draconid Empire ruled half the known galaxy. The throne was more than a seat of power, it was a quantum processor, capable of analyzing millions of star systems simultaneously, predicting wars before they began, and maintaining peace through perfect information. But something had broken deep within its crystalline core, and every engineer, every scientist, every technomancer from 100 worlds had failed to repair it. Lystrin stood before the massive structure, his azure scales catching the light filtering through the palace's translucent dome. As the newly appointed guardian of relics, he felt the weight of expectation crushing down on his shoulders. The High Council had given him one solar rotation to make progress, or they would dismantle the throne entirely and sell its components. To pay off the Empire's mounting debts, it's impossible, muttered Velshara, the chief engineer, her serpentine neck coiling in frustration. The humans tried to help during the Alliance years, but even their primitive tinkering couldn't. What did you just say? Lystrin interrupted, his golden eyes widening. The humans? They sent some representatives decades ago, before the war. Why? Lystrin's mind raced. Humans, the species everyone dismissed as technologically inferior, whose ships were held together with what they called duct tape and whose solution to most problems involved percussive maintenance. They had been barred from the core worlds after the treaty violations, relegated to the outer rim. But Lystrin remembered something his mentor once told him. Sometimes the solution isn't more complexity, it's understanding the simple thing. Everyone else has forgotten. 3 days later, Lystrin's ship emerged from hyperspace near Earth's lunar station. The humans had been surprised by his request, but agreed to send someone. What they sent, however, made Lystrin's heart sink. A child. Cataline couldn't have been more than 10 solar cycles old by human reckoning. She bounced off the transport shuttle with wild brown curls and eyes that seemed too bright, too curious. She wore stained coveralls and carried a battered toolbox that looked older than she was. "You're the guardian?" she asked, tilting her head. "Cool scales. Are they real or like biomechanical implants?" Lystrin's translator struggled with her rapid-fire speech pattern. "They are real. You are the engineer Earth sent." "Engineer? No, I'm just Cataline. But Dad says I'm good at fixing stuff." She shrugged. "He runs a repair shop in New Chicago. Couldn't come himself, busy with a fusion core rebuild. So he sent me." Lystrin felt his career ending before his eyes. The throne chamber fell silent when they arrived. Dozens of Draconid officials, their scales ranging from deep crimson to pale silver, stared at the small human child walking confidently across the polished floor. "This is an insult," roared Council Member Thexener. "We request aid and they send a hatchling?" Cataline ignored the outburst, her attention entirely focused on the dragon throne. She walked around it slowly, occasionally pressing her ear against its surface or tapping its crystalline structures with a small metal tool. Interesting, very interesting, child," Velshara said with barely concealed condescension. "This is quantum entangled crystalline circuitry, operating on 17-dimensional mathematical principles. It is beyond, it's vibrating wrong." Cataline interrupted. "What? The resonance frequency is off. See?" She tapped 2 different sections of the throne. "This part hums at 430 Hz, but this part is at 428. They're supposed to match, right? Otherwise, the quantum states can't synchronize properly." The room went deadly quiet. Lystrin felt something shift in his chest. "How did you? What makes you think they need to match?" Cataline looked at him like he'd asked why water was wet. "Everything that works has to be in harmony, like a guitar. All the strings have to be tuned right, or the song sounds wrong. This throne, it's just a really, really complicated guitar." She set down her toolbox and pulled out what looked like an ancient tuning fork. "May I?" Lystrin glanced at the council. Thexener looked ready to explode, but the Empress herself raised a claw. "Let the human child proceed. We have nothing to lose but pride, and that died long ago." For 6 hours, Cataline worked. She didn't use quantum analyzers or probability matrices. She used tuning forks, tiny hammers, and something she called a sonic screwdriver that was apparently from a human entertainment. program, she hummed while she worked, occasionally talking to the throne like it was a sick pet she was nursing back to health. There you go, that's better. I know, nobody's listened to you in forever, huh? Must be lonely. Lystrin watched, fascinated. The child treated the ancient machine with a tenderness none of his people had shown in centuries. Not as a tool to be fixed, but as something that needed care. As the palace's twin sun set, Catiline tightened one final crystalline matrix and stepped back. Try it now. Lystrin approached the throne, his heart pounding. He placed his clawed hand on the activation panel. The dragon throne hummed to life. Light cascaded through its structures, data streams flowing like rivers of pure information. The quantum processors synchronized, and suddenly the throne was broadcasting to every corner of the palace star charts, threat assessments, resource allocations, all the things it had been built to do. The throne chamber erupted in chaos. Engineers rushed forward, nobles gasped, and the Empress herself descended from her observation platform, tears streaming down her scaled face. How? Valshara whispered. We tried everything. Every diagnostic, every algorithm. You tried to fix what was broken, Catiline said simply, packing her tools. But it wasn't broken. It was just lonely, out of tune. Nobody had listened to it in forever. Lystrin knelt before the small human, bringing his massive head level with hers. You have saved more than a machine today, Catiline of Earth. You have saved our history, our future. What can we possibly give you in return? Catiline thought for a moment, then grinned. Could I get a ride home in one of your ships? The fast ones? Dad would think that's super cool. Later, as Lystrin escorted her back to her transport, Catiline paused. Can I tell you a secret? Of course, humans aren't smarter than you guys. We break stuff a lot, so we get really good at fixing it. And when you fix stuff a lot, you learn to listen. Really listen. She patted the wall affectionately. Everything wants to work. You just have to help it remember how. As her ship disappeared into the stars, Lystrin understood something profound. The humans hadn't survived on brute strength or superior technology. They'd survived because they never forgot the simple truth. Sometimes the most complex problems needed the simplest solution: understanding, care, and a willingness to listen. The dragon throne hummed contentedly in its chamber, finally heard after millennia of silence, fixed not by genius, but by a child who knew that even machines could be lonely.